It's week D and it's Friday afternoon. So obviously I've done absolutely no work towards my entry for the getting to know me A through Z. And letter D is for deadlines. So, I want to try just filming direct, with no stitching, no editing, no transitional effects, nothing, because I don't want to get to the end of the deadline again, like I did last week, in an absolute panic that I'm not going to get anything done on time. And this is the most important aspect for me of the alphabet superset, that I chose to participate in the project at a point where I was feeling very low creatively, and I wanted to try and kickstart my creative life in a way. And the biggest thing about creativity, which was the previous entry to the alphabet superset, is that I've always thought of it as like an inspiration thing, that you have to wait for the right inspiration. And professional artists need to be able to produce on demand. And so keeping a deadline seems to be a pretty effective way of staying creative, whether you're in the mood for it or not. I'm not saying that I'm not in the mood for filming, by the way. I absolutely am. But yeah, this week is especially important for me for deadlines, because on Saturday my band is playing their first gig, and I'm going to have to put the windows up because we're getting to the motorway. But we'd written a load of songs over basically a 1-year period, and it was only at the point where we agreed to participate in this show. I don't want to give any details away because it's a private party. That because we had a gig and a deadline to work towards, that we had to start taking a more methodical approach to band practices and experimenting with the sound setup and things a lot more. And so with that deadline looming, I know that Saturday is a no-go day for trying to film, and so if I don't do something now, then I might not have time to do it until the Sunday hangover phase. So I'd rather do it while I've got my happy face on. I'm actually so deadlines are something that for me I find very stressful, but also very necessary. And I can do absolutely nothing for 95% of the time of a deadline, and then do 95% worth of work in the 5% period left over at the end. I always get my homework in on time, even if I have to do it during breakfast. So the challenge with the alphabet superset is to try and stick to a deadline and produce videos on a weekly basis, which I've found to be a very kind of up and down roller coaster of emotion because I'm not very good at organising my time. And today I've been working on my timetable for my day job to try and include some windows in there that are specifically for editing videos and stuff like that. So yeah, to try to stick to this deadline, I'm trying to make this video as minimal edited as possible and get it out before Sunday night, bearing in mind that most of the weekend I'm probably not going to be up to doing any editing. Hi, it's Sunday evening and I'm on my way home after picking up my guitar and amp from the shack in the middle of the woods where usually we have band practices, but last night we had our first concert and it went pretty well and I'm pretty happy with how it was. So I didn't get much sleep Friday night, and because I was really shitting bricks, to be honest. And so Saturday I had intended to sleep a bit before meeting friends for the lunch that we were having before the concert. And I ended up sitting on my own after my haircut and getting into a really nervous state, so I decided to meditate, and I managed to cut it off, which has been quite a revelation for me of late, because I always thought in the past meditation was something that I just didn't have the patience for, and now I'm starting to see practical applications like staving off a panic attack before it gets any worse. That I decided that it didn't matter whether the concert went well or not. It was just important to try and stay in the moment and just enjoy everything, all the events of the day, without thinking of what the next part of the day was going to be. And for social anxiety aspect, the going out and meeting friends for a dinner, a big lunch together, when I only know maybe a quarter of the people there, was the much more nerve-wracking part for me than the idea of the concert, because I knew by the time we played, everybody, including me, would be well inebriated and not so nervous. And yeah, so after managing to stave off a panic attack, I then put YouTube back on, because I had been watching YouTube videos until that point, trying to kill time waiting for my late friend to contact me about why he was going to be late. And yeah, I put the YouTube back on, and the first video that like not even on the list of recommended, because normally the top one is an advert. And so I don't even register that one. I just look at the ones below, because my brain has learned to filter out adverts. That the top one on this particular occasion wasn't an advert; it was a recommended video for Healthy Gamer, who I've mentioned before, talking about third eye meditation, and I saw that as like a real kind of synchronicity moment. It's like, look, YouTube algorithm isn't that intelligent. to do a bit of meditation. And so I tried this meditation, and I got to this point where I realised what the point was that he was trying to get to with this thing of breathing. It was to do with breathing in through the nose, but in doing it in steps, and then imagining that you're carrying on up until the breath is filling up into your third eye. And I ended up kind of focusing on the breathing, getting the third eye, getting the air to feel like it was coming up in through my head, and then the third eye thing, right? It's fucking real, yeah. Because I was sitting in the dark end of the academy, but with all the doors open. It's the apartment is basically one long room, and with the sunlight over at the other end. With my eyes closed, it's like dark everywhere else, but when I've got my head up, I've got daylight in the field of my vision, with the eyes closed. And so I breathed in, and I moved my head up, and at the point where the sunlight shone in, that was the exact point where I felt like the air was starting to reach my third eye, and then it went warm like that, and it came out, and I saw the sunlight coming in, and actually had like a momentary out-of-body experience, and it was fucking great. And so I tried to do it again after, and I couldn't do it. But that's not to give Dr. K all the credit, because I'd kind of zoned out by the time I got to that point, and wasn't really following his guided meditation by that point. But yeah, it was literally an eye-opening experience, because up until that point I'd always thought, why is it that people who do meditation seem so convinced that it's better than drugs? And it's like you have to be open to the experience in order to experience it. So the knock-on effect of all of this was that I'd had my little panic attack, got over it, realised that meditation is real, and then went out for lunch, got completely plastered on red wine and fun, and just had a really fucking good day. So by the time we went to the shack in the woods, I knew it was impossible to not have a great time. And the gig, it's funny, but my memory of the night, the actual performance, is kind of like the bit that I've forgotten, because I was just in the moment. So I want to watch some videos back and see if I can remember how I felt during the actual concert. But I know that I felt nervous before, but confident now, and like healthy nervous, and then somebody just randomly stopped in the road in front of me, and then afterwards, just really happy and positive and appreciative of the group of friends that I've managed to make by having the confidence to join them and form a band, and yeah, so deadlines, yeah. I'm going to miss the deadline for Sunday night, because I want to edit this as well, and edit the one that says about me not editing. But under the circumstances, I'm allowing myself to miss a deadline because of the other deadline, which was the first gig. What is a deadline? A deadline is the dead end of a project, like a dead end street. Yeah? You're driving down it, and you've got until this point before you're going to crash into the wall. And surviving the crash is the difference between whether or not the deadline was met successfully. And who knows, maybe I will meet the deadline, because maybe when I get home now I can blast this into the computer, edit it really quickly, and do a real cowboy job on it. Or maybe I'll take a little bit more pride in my work and add an extra day or two to my self-imposed deadline, but one that I want to try and keep as much as possible, because I'm really enjoying the alphabet superset, and I'm finding it a very motivating experience, not only for the project itself, but for various aspects of my life, that I feel much more creative and much more motivated to get on and do stuff. Anyway, I think I've rambled plenty of time, and I've given myself way too much video to edit, so I'm going to stop there again and say goodbye. Bye.